Hey, what's up everybody? It's Bat Jack JW coming to you, and we're talking about 22s. 22 pistols in this case, and hey, look, a revolver if you get technical. Anyway, so this is a little bit of a collection here that I wanted to show you because we had them all here, and we might as well video them for your pleasure and checking them out. I think everybody has started shooting 22s. I mean, who didn't? So I certainly did. And here's a really cool example, some really cool vintage ones and everything that will definitely bring back some memories for me especially. This right here, this one is actually mine. This is a great example of what I shot my very first semi-auto that I was starting to shoot. And this here is a really cool Ruger Mark II. This is a standard, what they would call a Luger-Ruger style with the taper barrel, 4-inch. I really like that model a lot. It's just something really cool about it. It's really sleek. It's got that James Bond kind of look. Of course, I did my custom grips for it, so just had to do that. You know, kind of a little bit of aged ivory style action going on. So although I would love to, you know, just for the heck of it, ever find a Mark I, because I really like these kind of older ones. They're really cool to me, and I know they make the newer ones, the Mark IV, where you just push a button and hinge it out and everything. I've gotten fairly, you know, decent at taking them apart and doing all that kind of, you know, disassembly to clean them and everything, so I'm okay with that. I got a video on doing it, and if you want to see it all, how it comes apart and everything, you can check it out on the channel. But anyway, the reason I like the Mark II was a couple of reasons over the Mark III, and then of course obviously it changes into 4. The 2, aside from the 1, it does have the bolt release right here, so that's kind of cool, and it does have the last shot hold open on the bolt, so that's really cool. Of course, the heel release here, it's got that old school style. Now these kind of really interesting history with them. You know, I don't know, I'm not a serious student history on them, but they kind of went head to head with this baby right here. Ooh, isn't that gorgeous? A vintage Colt Woodsman. This would be the Sporter model, which I think is the coolest model. This one here, I believe, is vintage 1932. Gorgeous, immaculate bluing. I mean, just stuff you do not see anymore. Just absolutely fantastic stuff. I mean, this is just great. And here again, heel release there on the magazine. Look at that, original two-tone magazine. Oh, are we drooling yet? But no, this is a Colt Woodsman. This is absolutely a gorgeous pistol. Yeah, this is just amazing. But, you know, these were a pretty penny. These cost a pretty penny. And until Bill Ruger came along and everything and gave us something like this, and how he was able to cut the cost down. I think even back then, I mean, this was really between this and the high standard, like the Duramatics and all that kind of stuff. I mean, these were the guns that kind of started to put a hurt on some of these really, you know, good Colt Woodsman. Not saying that this is you know, an inferior gun or anything, but it was definitely cheaper made. One of the ways they did it, from what I understand, is the frame. The frame was literally done in 2 pieces. It's a sheet metal stamping. I mean, I know how bad that sounds. They gas welded it and everything, and you know, which ended up being really good. It holds up really well. And then of course you got this cylinder like tube, and then they screwed a barrel on and everything. From what I understand, that's the kind of, so there was some cost saving measures that was taken to be able to do that and to come up with that. But you know, one thing I will say about these is, especially like the Ruger, the older Rugers, the Mark I, II, they just eat any kind of 22. And you know, and as you know, if you get involved in a semi-auto 22, it can vary. It definitely can vary on what you're feeding it and how it's going to rely. But I've never had anything go wrong with this thing. In fact, I wish I would have got it on video, because one day I was out there with a buddy of mine shooting, and I actually, just for giggles, I actually shot shorts in it. And it did work. I couldn't believe it. 22 shorts. All right, I know you've been waiting for it. Last but not least, yes, if you can believe that, a Smith & Wesson Snubby 22. Can you believe that? It's called a Model 34, otherwise known as a kit gun. And we've got some videos on that, but yes, it is indeed. There it is. 22 LR, gorgeous bluing, right? And those original wood grips. Otherwise, it's a pretty much like a detective special, or the Model 36 if you're talking Smith & Wesson. the Model 36, you know, with a little bit of a more of a ramp sight and of course adjustable sights, which is kind of really cool. And he's kind of, you know, came out. It's a J-frame, and I really do like the fact it's a 6-shot. That's really cool. Really traditional for me. So that's cool. We have videos on that. All of these, actually, we have separate videos on. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Quick look at them, a little talk about them, and just there you are. Well, you're still sticking around? Okay. Well, we'll show you some honorable mentions, if not kind of a wild card in it all. You guys know I'm a 1911 guy, and we have a Wilson Combat vintage 1911 conversion slide unit. Isn't that awesome? Now these, they don't make anymore, and they kind of go on eBay for a little bit of money. And what's a cool combination that I found, that here's my, right now it's missing the other side of the grips, but here's my 1911 that I kind of put together as a 22. It's got the Kimber top end 22 conversion on it, on top of a aluminum framed or alloy framed 1911. Why? Makes that whole package extremely light. And then of course, like I said in my previous, if you're paying attention to some of my radio episodes on Saturdays now that we brought back, there's where your polymer mainspring housing comes in handy to minimize weight.